Welcome to Beyond the Classroom with Bhavna and Dia. Today, we are in conversation with Buddha Balram, an animal behaviorist who is well known for his ability to handle temperamental puppies. Buddha is passionate about communication better with the furry friends. He believes in relationship approach, and as we all know, with great love comes great responsibility. Welcome Buddha to BTC.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Just to add to that, I equally work with the owners so that they can understand their pets and make them a balanced part of a human society.
Okay. Wow. So, welcome, Buddha, to our show.
Thank you.
So, what inspired you to be a dog mentor, and how did your journey began as Buddha, the dog mentor?
So journey started. I was brought up near a dog pound, where
Okay.
in a very young age, and that's where I used to love spending most of my time. And when I was there, the people over there realized that I had this ability to go to dogs which everybody runs away from.
Mm.
So I started helping them with dogs which they finding it hard to train, and they gave me formal dog training and methods and work wise. So coming from an Indian middle class family, the usual route, did my MBA,
Correct.
18 years of corporate life, struggled through it.
Academics.
Even though what happens is that month-end SMS is like a poison. It makes you into that comfort zone which you
Correct.
never want to leave.
Leave.
But my life took a different course on its own. It started when I landed in UAE. Closely started working with a lot of rescue agencies and pe- dogs with severe behavior issues. I started rehab and rehoming these dogs. Slowly, people started knowing me, but at this time, it was only my passion. It was just kind of I was doing for the love of it.
So, you were working also and you were doing
Yes,
this
I was
also.
sales head for a print and production house.
Okay.
So this was my passion, which continued. Till 2015, some things happened in my life, which was a turning point.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I cannot take the credit of taking a conscious decision, but life took me into a path where I had to take this shift, and I went into full time of animal behaviorist and all that. The entire from small to big animals.
Okay.
So, what does a typical day look like in the life of an animal behaviorist? आपका दिन कैसे शुरू होता है और कैसे खत्म होता है?
One thing about my day is always happening.
Yeah.
There is nothing which I can say this happens at this time. On a general note, it is structured that I wake up around 4:30
So
with my
early.
team. Yeah. So we work with our dogs and training and walking and feeding them the entire normal routine, which runs up to you can say 7:30. Now, as the summer is coming up, we are basically making this little changes in the timings. Then sometimes I have home sessions where people come to me and start working with their dogs at my place. By around 12 o'clock, I start taking home sessions where I go to people's houses, and my calendar runs maybe 2 to 3 weeks in advance, so which has
Wow.
already been charted. So these sessions run up to around 6, 7 in the evening, where I'm back at my place, and the evening routine with my dogs and the dogs which I train happens at my place. As in the morning, evening, also people come to my house and we work with their dogs in a controlled environment where I have my dogs and their dogs to kind of get whatever problems they are facing sorted. Uh, but after that, I have certain animals and birds which only I can feed them. So that
Oh.
run up to 10:30, and basically
So,
10:30 is
always on your toes kind
yeah.
of a thing. And how many dogs do you have at home, like your personal thing?
See, in total, in terms of I have adopted dogs during the course of period for 4 5 years, which is running up to around 30 number. Not just dogs. I have other animals which has been kind of given up and
You
abandoned.
have a parrot. I saw your profile
Yes,
picture where
yes.
he is so nicely sitting and posing for
Does
the
he talk?
picture.
See, I don't believe in circus tricks with animals. Okay. See, my whole philosophy is I basically call it taming, which makes
Yes.
people uncomfortable. Okay. But I'm trying to spread awareness that taming is not a negative word. Okay.
Yes.
Taming means any animal, you are bringing them into a human environment. They don't need any kind of training or taming otherwise. So when you bring an animal to a human environment, you need to guide them how to be part of this environment. So I basically keep it at that. I don't like to go down the circus tricks
No,
about jump,
not
roll
like
over.
that.
So yeah, and again, these animals which come to me are very old. Like they are not babies or chicks or
Okay.
puppies. Like recently, I've adopted an eagle, which had multiple fractures in the leg and all that.
Oh,
So
oh.
we, luckily, with a very good vet doctor Octavio, has helped me to kind of do the surgery and everything and get him back on track. And now he's coming back. But yeah, as being a natural bird of prey, severely aggressive as of now. So I'm working with him to get him back on track.
So, you're a dog trainer or an animal behaviorist.
Yeah.
So nowadays we hear this term called whisperer.
Yeah.
You have whisperers of variety of
Yeah.
associated to variety of streams. So can you help us understand the difference between a dog trainer or a behaviorist and a dog whisperer? Like, yeah, I mean, many of the people.
See, it's a very broad topic, but to kind of specify the word whisperer, to my knowledge, see, initially it was related to a lot of horses. That was where
Yes,
this term
yeah,
kind of
term came up,
originated.
right?
Because and then now the thing is, when you get a horse, you take this training very seriously because it's a big animal, 600, 700 kilos, and you need to really work with them. The animal has to be trained, and if you want to ride and enjoy the animal, you need to train yourself also. So that's where this term originated. Then, of course, Caesar Milan came into the picture through his shows in Nat Geo and all that, and he was termed as dog whisperers, and that's where I think this phrase took off. Okay, in terms of functionality, I would feel there is, for me, there's two kinds of training. One is specifically job oriented training. Okay. Because if you take the history of human dog relationship, it started because their specific genetic makeup helped humans in our daily life. That is protection, guarding, hunting, herding.
True.
So now, as our lifestyle changes, that role is also kind of changing in our daily life. Like for example, big dogs were never expected to sit inside the house. Okay.
Yeah, but they do now.
They do now, exactly. So now, if you ask me, there's two kinds of requirement. One is specific training, which enhances the genetic genes of the dog. Like for example, sniffer dogs, military dogs, service dogs. So this is a specific training which a dog receives. Then there is now the house family dog, the companion, which is an entirely different role where we basically guide the dog not to respond to his natural instincts,
Ah,
right? We guide them to follow us. Okay. A natural instinct of a dog is being territorial. We
correct.
train the dog not to be territorial, right? So this is the two different aspects which comes in. And whisperer comes in, or the animal behaviorist comes in, where an animal has reached a stage where the behavior which they are portraying does not fit into the lifestyle which they are. For example, a dog, whenever somebody enters a house, a dog becomes aggressive and try to attack them.
True.
So we need to basically guide the animal and the owner to bring in a balance. What is expected out of the animal, and plus teach the owner how to guide him in what he's supposed to do. So that's where this phrase I think took off in recent
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
because generally what I know is that certainly, like, when someone goes to dogs which are strangers, like, like my son, he went to his friend's place first time, and there was a Saluki, there was a triple coat big Alsatian, and there was a Saint Bernard. And he just went there and sat there, and all three dogs came to him. I was not scared of Saint Bernards, but I was scared of Saluki. And they just came and they just started playing with him. And then the friend's dad mentioned he seemed like a dog whisperer.
Okay.
And I was like, what is that? so that is what people think, that the animal whisperer is
Exactly.
something like
Yeah.
that. So someone who can, I don't know, connect from inside with the animal or something.
They understand. See, if you want me to specify a person who can do this work, is a person who actually understand animals as animals. Like what you rightly said, your son went and sat there. He did not run to hug the
No.
dog or pet the dog, which is not a right thing to do in terms of an animal. Now, also in your conversation, you got out a bigger myth that you are not scared of a Saint Bernard, but you are not comfortable with a Saluki, right?
Again, this all was because whatever I've heard.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So thing what we need to understand, breed does not specify temperament.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm working with dogs which a Rottweiler, which is like the most so-called the
Ferocious.
most cuddly dog in the house, and I have Chihuahuas, which is like they think they are some,
I
their
know.
job is
They
to
are.
yeah. So this is a misconception which
True.
I ended up adopting a Shih Tzu, which has bitten multiple times
Oh
in
my
their
God.
family, causing 3-4 stitches, and it lost his house. Now the same Shih Tzu is living with my house with rabbits, parrots, owls, and eagles, perfectly fine, no issues.
So now I want to ask you, for every career, there is an education.
Yes,
Now,
definitely
when you
yes.
talk about being an animal behaviorist,
Mm-hmm.
there is no set psychology like a human psychology. Do you have something called as
See, there are a
animal
lot of
psychology?
courses which are available. Okay,
Okay.
but if you ask my personal experience, that is after my initial work with the kennel and stuff, I did some courses. But for me, what helped me was the actual work where I interacted with animals. I'm still learning. This subject as such is very new. People are getting aware of it. A lot of people think they understand and get into this and kind of mess up a lot of scenarios. So I would say it's still a very budding things, and animal behaviors. If you want to kind of really excel it, it's about the interaction with animals.
So it's all
Instinct
about
rather.
Instincts, yeah. We
Yeah.
can, yeah.
experience.
See, the thing is, I always say when I went into a house with an aggressive dog where I work with them and come back, I wouldn't term it as 100% my talent. Yes, it's an experience and knowledge which I've kind of gone through in so many over years. Plus, there is sometimes a huge amount of luck factor also, where you kind of work with the animals, you learn there, and plus, animal kind of understands the approach.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed. So on BTC, we'd love to know, we love to discuss certain situations, that, how would you handle the following scenarios?
Okay.
So, when you go to a dog who exhibits signs of anxiety, fear, especially during thunderstorms or fireworks or during wet visits, because I've seen a lot of canines getting scared of wet visits. So, how do you handle them?
Okay. Before I answer that question, I want help to the listeners to understand that when you work with dogs, there is no one solution fits all. So I might be giving specific examples and stuff. I will try to make it as general as possible so people understand. But being that, please don't try to use these techniques on your dogs without having thorough knowledge about it. Okay, there are a lot
Fair
of good
enough.
trainers over here. Please contact them; they'll help you out. Now, in terms of anxieties, that is for different. Uh, See, the reason why a dog becomes anxious, a fundamental reason is it's in an environment which doesn't understand. Okay, and a human gets these animals into their life. They want to love, cuddle them and all that, but they never guide them on how to basically exist in this environment, right? They don't give them a sense of purpose. Okay, so and all these requirement is human. A dog does not want to go to a vet,
Correct.
right?
Agreed.
He is sick. We are trying to help it, but he doesn't understand. Okay, so it's very scary for him. For example, you take a dog to a walk. Technically, either the dog takes you for a walk or
Yeah,
you take the
true.
dog for a walk,
Correct.
right? When the dog takes you for a walk, he's walking in an environment which is completely alien to him. Uh, for you, what you see is a delivery boy. For him, it's a
Correct.
monster, right?
Yeah.
For what you see is kids playing. What the dog sees, there is some things which are screaming and yelling and noisy and anxious and hyper, so which they don't understand.
Correct.
So if they are not following you, they start scanning your surroundings. Then they start sensing these things. They lock onto them and they respond. Right? And then once a dog does that, then depending upon their temperament, they will decide what to do next.
React.
Right?
Yeah.
If you are suddenly dropped into an environment, maybe a war zone,
Of
okay, and there's
course.
nobody to guide you, you don't know what, you don't know the language, you don't know the place, you don't know the people. So obviously you will start becoming anxious and
Correct.
then you will start reacting to everything. Same thing is what dog does. So in terms of anxiety and all these behaviors, what you need to first do is guide the dog what the dog is supposed to do. So dog will either lead or they'll follow. And one beautiful thing about dogs is once they start following, they will start ignoring their surroundings.
So, I mean, in the thunderstorms and all, I mean, the fireworks, I know we can train them for the fireworks, but thunderstorms and all, how easy or difficult it is for, making the dog understand the situation.
See, you don't understand thunderstorms. You basically give an environment where dog knows I am supposed to follow human. If he's comfortable, I am safe.
Ah, that way. So,
They
okay.
pick it up from us, right? And another big mistake what you do is that when suddenly what do you call fireworks or thunderstorm happens, you when a dog is becoming anxious, instead of being calm in front of them, you all try to jump into it and try to address it. And one simple principle in animal training is that any behavior which gets any kind of attention, you're feeding that behavior.
True.
You're
Same
enforcing
works
that
with
behavior.
tantrums.
Yeah.
So should I say that they follow or they observe you? Like how are you reacting towards a specific
Definitely,
situation? And then
definitely.
then the dog also react the same way. If you're
Definitely.
panicky, the dog is
Now, that is where we need to understand dogs as dogs and humans as humans. Because, for example, you might be, let me just take you an example of a dog is anxious, okay? Suddenly, you see the dog getting anxious, a guest is coming and he starts covering or starts barking. You immediately run to the, oh my God, don't be scared. It's Buddha, it's fine. You start petting the dog, right? Don't get scared. So you are trying to tell the dog it's okay, no need to be scared. But in a dog language, he's barking at the person and human is giving me affection,
oh
So that,
yes.
yeah. So
right?
it's acceptable. Then it becomes
Exactly.
an acceptable thing
So
to
for
him.
him, you are basically enforcing that fear. Good job, bark more.
Okay. Understood. Yeah.
Another common example in a house is somebody's at the door, he rings the bell, dog runs to the door and starts barking. You are watching a TV and you get uncomfortable and you start shouting at your dog, hey, keep quiet, keep whatever in your language. So for a dog, he's barking at the door and human has joined it to bark at the door.
A dog owner sometimes they struggle with this dog barking. They constantly bark. They constantly bark.
Yeah.
So what is the reason behind this? I know.
On a general note, the simple reason when the dog starts barking, human starts barking with them. You might be saying no need to bark, please be quiet.
But for him, it's
for him,
like,
he's
yeah.
barking, human is also barking.
True. Understand. Yeah. So, what about when dogs excessively start, chewing furniture, shoes, any household items? So, one scenario we understand that, when it's teething. So, even the children do that, they chew anything which they can get their hands on. But apart from the teething part, when the dogs do keep doing this, so how do you handle that?
Okay, one big reason a puppy training fails in a household is because human starts thinking in the concept of good and bad behavior.
Yeah.
There is no good and bad behavior from a point of view of a dog. Dog just follows patterns which either you taught them or he learned himself. Okay. Now you said chewing of furnitures, and there's a concept of space. When you let a dog freely roam around a space without any boundaries and structure, he starts claiming that's genetics. He starts claiming that space,
Like his territory.
his territory. So that immediately brings you three problems. Number one, behavior issue. Okay. Second is he's a danger to himself and things in your house. Chewing of furnitures, wires, poisonous plants or whatever. Okay. Third is potty training.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
Genetically, they only keep their living space clean. Okay. Where they sleep, on a general note, where they sleep, they try to keep that space clean. Rest of the house is your problem, not his problem.
True.
Right? So there comes the expectation and reality.
Yeah.
True, true,
So
true.
this chewing of now, if you ask me why does a dog chew or something, there's a lot of reasons. Maybe
Okay.
puppies for teething,
Teething.
anxiety. There's a lot of reasons. Okay, but the whole on a general note, what you need to understand that dog does not know what he's supposed to do. He does not have a job. He does not have a sense of purpose. He does not have a sense of direction. So when you provide that to the dog, he starts calming down. Okay. So when he starts calming down, all these behaviors start phasing off. Whenever I'm called in for a hyper dog or something, I tell people when they're hyper or anxious, their brain is like this. Okay. When you start working with them and tell them to follow you, you are bringing focus into them. And the moment focus starts coming in, the dog starts calming down.
Correct.
Now, humans being humans, I've got calls like, Buddha, your dog, my dog, like the hyper dog, once you start working, I think so my dog is going on a depression.
Okay.
No, because when they start seeing the dog calming down, they can't handle it.
To
For them,
change in behavior, a
yes.
complete
behavior,
So
yeah.
result.
so it's again no. Let's see, just dog is being calm. That's fine. When he gets a sense of purpose, his brain starts calming down. He starts focusing. Simple.
So when a family wants to get a new pup, generally it is always the kids
Yeah.
who wants to have a pet. So any advices for them?
That is the worst reason to take
Yeah.
that decision.
Yes.
Because just because your kid needs a dog and you bring the dog, that's the worst reason you can get a dog for.
Because that's what is maximally
Exactly.
observed. That it's the parents take a decision because the child
Child
wanted
Because a
it.
dog is not an accessory.
Yes.
Okay. When you are bringing a dog to your life, you basically are making a commitment for at least 10 to 15 years.
True.
That's as good as a family member, some
Definitely.
addition to your family.
Definitely.
The
So
only family member who doesn't go to school. That's it.
Yeah,
That's the
doesn't
only
talk.
difference.
Yeah.
his schooling happens in the house.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
yes.
So thing is, and of course there are a lot of dog schools and stuff, which I'll come back to it when you get a puppy. So initial thing first you need to require is understand your lifestyle. Do an assessment of your lifestyle. Okay. A lot of people come to me kind of to get a, kind of understand should they get a pet or not or something. Most of the people in UAE with their lifestyle, it is basically an extra effort and burden to get a dog in their life. A common family, the kid and the family goes to work in the morning. Maybe the house help is there. 3 o'clock, kids come back. Then after that, by 4 5 kids have different activities, and by evening the family comes back. So they are having their dinner and their own time. Saturdays are filled with kids' activity. The Sunday, the only day is spent with their family in the house. So in this scenario, why do you want to get a dog into it? Okay. So the dog will be ending up with a maid. For
No,
her,
they
it's a
all-
job.
yeah.
Right. So even though we go to training and stuff, the maid won't or the house help won't put that effort to get the dog in order. So ultimately, we have behavior issues and stuff and all that. And any person who is planning to get a dog thinks a dog biting, dog attacking, dog snapping is a bad behavior is a biggest mistake, because that's their natural way of communication. Dog is territorial. If you don't guide them out of this, they will naturally become territorial. So now dog schools. Now a lot of things people, I'll get a puppy, I'll send him to the training center, maybe 1 month, he'll come back, he'll be fine. No, that's again wrong, because that dog, you will get a lot of videos where the dog is perfectly well behaved in that training center. Does not mean that he will behave in your house from basic potty training.
So until and unless you create the similar circumstances and the stimulus stimuli.
Exactly. So you need to know what you're supposed to do with the dog in your house. A trainer's success is not the dog behaving with the trainer. Trainer's success is the dog behaving with the end user.
Yeah, the environment is completely
Exactly.
different.
So the owners also have to put in the time and effort to get this sorted.
Correct. So now let's go to the rapid fire questions for you, you know.
Okay.
So your favorite dog breed to work with?
I get this n number of times, and I say it's never about the breed. For me, it's temperament.
Treat based training or praise based?
There are different techniques. All are effective as long as you know what you're applying it to and how you're applying it. As I said in the start, there is no one solution fit all. Every problem has an approach. It has to be handled the way it has to be handled.
So your favorite dog movie?
I am. I gave you my daily routine.
Yeah,
There's
I don't think
There is no time for
time
movies.
for movies. Yeah.
So, must have dog grooming tool.
brush.
Brush.
Yeah.
So verbal commands or hand signals? Which work better?
What works for you? Because for the dog, it works. Both works.
Okay.
But the thing is, don't become an animated clown in front of it. Be very clear when it communicate. No, dog, sit. Why don't you sit down? That's the time dog sits. Because what people don't understand is that for him, it's a sound. He associates the sound with action.
He doesn't understand
Yeah,
words.
so the 10 sits which you said in a normal tone or a little bit hyper tone, this human makes that sound all the time. When you yell at the dog with all your energy, that's it. Oh, this is the command, I should sit down.
Okay.
And human thinks, oh, I kind of shouted at him, that's why the dog sit down. For him, that shout is a command. It's simple.
Taking control on his life.
Yeah.
Okay, so morning walks or evening strolls, which one do you like to go?
Now, which one? I like to go both.
Both.
But again, it's all about your lifestyle. Don't change your lifestyle for your dog.
So the dog needs
Make
to
them part of your lifestyle. Yeah.
So favorite part of being a dog mentor?
To see the transition. So I go through, and it's beautiful. I cannot explain in words. What happens is when I go to scenarios where dog has bitten and all that, and that stress in their house, like it's a shock for them. How can my dog do this, right? And then we guide them through, and that transition happens where a complete change, where a dog is then it's ending up dog being happy in the house, and they, oh Buddha, thank you very much. That is the best feeling.
Success stories.
Yeah. I honestly admit I have 100% success stories. I have 100% failed stories because I have to bring it that balance.
Right.
So unless both work together, there's no, I will not get the end result. So yeah.
So thank you so much, Mr. Buddha, for all these insights. I mean, personally, I also gained a lot of insight as to how
Thank you.
animals perceive us rather than how we see them. The other side of the story, like how do they see? So next time I'm going to sit in front of a dog, I'll just keep wondering how is it perceiving me then?
And sometimes I feel, what if animal was talking to you?
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, see, we always get animal because we want to get the animal.
Yeah,
It's never
Think
the
what
case.
does the animal need? Okay.
true.
So on that perspective, your outlook towards animals will change.
change.
And I would say if you can't handle an animal, that is absolutely fine. You don't need to get one. Please don't get into the pressure, I need to have a dog in the house. Please, no. Please understand your lifestyle. Be ready when you're getting an animal. Guide them through.
Right. Thank you.
As we bring this episode to a close, we hope you're feeling as inspired as us by the incredible world of pets, their heartwarming affection, and their behavior. So, whether you're taking your first steps as a pet parent, a professional trainer, or exploring your passion towards canine companionship, remember that the journey is filled with friendship, fulfillment, and endless love. This is me and Dia signing out on now on BTC.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you. It was a
Thank
pleasure being
you.
here.
Pleasure is ours.